Welcome, everybody. The college football season is fast approaching, which means it's time for some preseason content. I'm Joe with the Game House, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top quarterback transfers in the 2023 college football season. As mentioned, we're going to be taking a look at the best transfer quarterbacks in college football for the upcoming season. The transfer portal has made this pretty tough. There are so many quarterbacks who are new starters to their teams, new to their teams, moving up from FCS to FBS, moving from conference to conference. Not everyone can be listed. These are just some of the people I think can have pretty good seasons this year with their current roster. So let's get it started. Let's start with Brennan Armstrong. Transfers to NC State from Virginia. He actually played really well in 2021. He passed for 4,449 yards, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on 65.2% completion. But he had a down 2022 season. We know Tony Elliott took over for Virginia, and they didn't really have the best season, so now he's going to go to NC State. He has some familiarity with the coaching staff there. With Devin Leary transferring out, I think Armstrong can slide right in, be a good fit for him. They won 8 games last year, returned 10 starters to the team. If Armstrong can use his arm and his legs like he has in the past and be that athletic dual-threat quarterback, he can really help them again. This is a guy just a couple of years removed from considering going to the NFL draft and just didn't play out very well last season. So a big get for NC State after Devin Leary leaves. He could be a very good asset for them this year. All right, Sam Hartman from Notre Dame. Hartman is one of the most experienced and productive players in college football over the last few seasons. In the last 5 seasons for Wake Forest, he's passed for 12,967 yards, 110 touchdowns, 41 interceptions, and on 63.1% completion. He's moving from Wake Forest to Notre Dame. He's mentioned how he's trying to challenge himself and take over this offense. For Notre Dame, this is really huge for them too. They started slowly last year, finished with a 9-4 record. The big bugaboo for their whole offense was the passing offense wasn't great. They went from Tyler Buckner, who got hurt at quarterback, to Drew Pine. It just never really worked out. Sam Hartman's going to bring that expertise that he has at throwing the football, and this could really help this Notre Dame team. The problem is the schedule's a little bit tougher this year. They get Ohio State, USC, Clemson, so maybe the record doesn't improve, but just to stay competitive, they needed to get Sam Hartman in here. And if that running game can stay consistent, that offensive line can stay playing really well, then we know Sam Hartman can maybe improve this offense better than what they did last year. All right, Devin Leary's up next. He is transferred from NC State to Kentucky. He passed for 3,433 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions on 65.7% completion in 2021 when he was healthy. He started off a little bit slower last year for 2022, and then he got hurt. He decided he needed a fresh start, so he decided to transfer to Kentucky. Kentucky also, much like Notre Dame, had trouble throwing the ball last year. Will Levis was their quarterback. He got drafted. He's very physically talented, but the offensive line didn't protect very much for him, and that caused some problems. They also had a new offensive coordinator, but Liam Cohen, who was back when Will Levis had his very good year in 2021, is back. The Wildcats have an improved offensive line, is what many people are kind of thinking here, and they also have some very good young receiver talent with Dane Key and Berrien Brown. So it'll be interesting to see if Leary can refine his form from the 2021 season and improve his draft stock and maybe help Kentucky get a couple extra wins along the way. Cade McNamara for Iowa. Now, he started his career at Michigan, took him to the college football playoffs in 2021, and then this past season he ended up getting replaced by J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy was the 5-star. They kind of wanted to go that way. They called it a position battle, but it looked like McCarthy kind of had it won the whole way. Now he's transferring to Iowa, and Iowa, just like these other programs, dying for some good production from their quarterback. Iowa needs to find a player who can push the ball, move the chains. Maybe Cade McNamara could be that guy, but he was more of a game manager at Michigan where they ran a pro-style offense where they just ran the ball a lot. So he's going to have to make some big throws. This will be a big test for him. He's being joined by his former tight end at Michigan too, Eric All. But if the Hawkeyes are competing in this Big Ten West, they're going to need Cade McNamara to make some big throws. He might be maybe one of the more talented quarterbacks they've had over the last several years, so he maybe gives them the best shot, but he really needs to step up too. All right, Shedeur Sanders transfers from Jackson State to Colorado, follows his dad, Deion Sanders, to take the Colorado job. Played 2 seasons at Jackson State, plenty of success. In 2022, he passed for 3,396 yards and 36 touchdowns. He won the Jerry Rice Award in 2021, which is awarded to the best freshman. He finds himself in a tough situation in Colorado. So his dad comes in to coach. Dion gets rid of a lot of the players on the roster, brings a lot of his own guys in. That's fine. Trying to make this team more competitive after only winning one game last year. So there's some talent on the roster, but maybe not the most depth. He's going to have to not only adjust to playing on a different level of football in the Pac-12, but also a lot of new faces, and it just there's a lot of things that have to go right for Shedeur Sanders this year. But luckily, he has a couple of years of eligibility. I think he could be a very good quarterback at Colorado, but it might start pretty slow for him because they do have a tougher schedule as well. All right, DJ Uiagalelei from Oregon State. We know he started his career at Clemson. There was a lot of hype behind him. He backed up Trevor Lawrence in his first season, got some playing time when Trevor Lawrence was out with, I believe it was COVID, in that Notre Dame game specifically in the regular season. Over the last 2 seasons of his time at Clemson, he struggled to find consistency, and he passed for 5,681 yards, 36 touchdowns, 17 interceptions on 59.8% completion. Now, I will say, I don't think this is all on DJ Uiagalelei. I do think there were some play calling issues, and the offense just wasn't really dynamic, we can say, and I think that may have hurt his chances of growing. Oregon State, another one of these teams that have had trouble throwing the ball last year. They had a very good defense, but they needed to find someone who could push the ball. They won 10 games despite that. I think DJ Uiagalelei coming in, if he plays up to his potential, could be a pretty good player for him. They just need to make sure the offense is set for his skill set and maybe gets 1 or 2 reads and gets the ball out. Some other guys to look at. Luke Altmaier transferring from Ole Miss to Illinois. Alan Bowman transferring from Texas Tech to Michigan to Oklahoma State. We have Tyler Buchner going from Notre Dame to the Alabama Crimson Tide, where he's joining his offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees, who just left for the job. Hudson Card goes from Texas to Purdue. Emory Jones goes from Florida to Arizona State to Cincinnati. He's really looking to put himself back on the map. Phil Dracovic goes from Notre Dame to Boston College to Pitt. He had a lot of potential as an NFL draft prospect. He needs to stay healthy and prove he can make some big-time throws. Graham Mertz started his career at Wisconsin. I think the highest-rated recruit that they had at the quarterback position in their history since they've started doing these rankings. Didn't work out there. He's now at Florida. Tanner Mordecai goes from SMU to Wisconsin to take over for him. Hypothetically here, we still have some competitions going on for some of these spots. And then Drew Pine, the Notre Dame guy who we talked about a couple minutes ago, filled in pretty well for Tyler Buchner last year. Didn't really push the offense to the next level, though. He's going to Arizona State. Spencer Sanders creates an interesting situation in Ole Miss. They have Jackson Dart. He played okay last year, but Spencer Sanders might have his own special package this season. We'll see if he can help out Ole Miss. Ole Miss just stockpiled quarterbacks this year in the transfer portal and see if they can help him out. Jeff Sims goes from Georgia Tech to Nebraska. He didn't really have a whole ton of help his whole time at Georgia Tech. He also had some injuries. And now he goes to Nebraska where Matt Rhule is trying to right the ship over there. Keaton Slovis goes from USC over to West Virginia, back to BYU, across the country. And he had some pretty good moments early on in his career at USC. He needs to refine himself at BYU. And then Donovan Smith goes to Houston. Last year, Texas Tech had plenty of injury issues, and Tyler Shaw was hurt. And now Donovan Smith stepped into that lineup, and he's now going to Houston, staying in the Big 12 as they stay in that league. He had some good moments for them. He needs to show more consistency, but now maybe with the starting job, maybe he can do that. So, who do you think are some of the best transfer quarterbacks in college football for the upcoming season? These are some of the list of my favorites, but let me know in the comments below. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.